Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, I'm here. So, great to meet you. I see that, well, oh, we have like a great audience here. So, my name is Peter Stepichev, and I'll introduce the concept of surprise pedagogy and a few games that might be helpful at the lesson of English. Oh, I see. Wow. As I speak a lot at the conferences, my first question is just to understand how much you know about the concept of surprise pedagogy and about my games. Can you type something like plus or +1 in case you've already heard my presentations on surprise pedagogy? Because today we have a few things from the basics that I usually introduce, and definitely a few new things. Oh, I see. So it's about 50-50 at the moment. Okay, I see. Wow. Okay. Well, so as far as I see, most of you, yeah, yeah, like so 70-30%. Okay, so I'll introduce the idea of surprise pedagogy first, probably briefly, and then I'll introduce some new games that I've never introduced before. So the whole idea of surprise pedagogy is the idea that you should first surprise your students and then try to use this emotion at the lesson. Because when we come to the lesson, some of our students are not interested, they are in their own world, and we need to somehow trigger their interest. And here surprise pedagogy comes. The first person who introduced this idea was Aristotle, who said that cognition starts with surprise. And actually, every small kid, when like from very early childhood, that's the way we learn. We look at the world around us, we see things, we get surprised, we ask about things that surprised us. So it's the natural way of learning. Because when you are just told a lot of facts and you are not interested and surprised at all, it's not natural way of learning. It's just the way of the way of mass learning, so-called. Thank you. We can use several ways to surprise a student. We can use surprising facts, and here we have lots of facts in English that might surprise students. For example, I show them different chocolate bars, and I ask them what they really mean. And for example, yeah, yeah, surprise pedagogy is when surprise pedagogy is when you surprise with your methods, facts, and when I show these chocolate bars, I ask my students what they really mean. For example, nuts really mean орехи, or bounty is not just a chocolate bar, it is вознаграждение. And I can name lots of surprising facts, and I'll have an extended version of my presentation to send to our participants. There you can find more examples of surprising facts. Surprising teaching tools. That's the very topic that I'd like to dwell on like in more detail, because surprising teaching tools is something that we can provide as teachers. And for that, I use different objects that are not usually used. That are not usually used at the lesson. For example, I use a grammar cup. A grammar cup is this kind of cup. I take actually not just an author, but kind of producer and publisher of teaching materials. And that's the thing. I published a sticker. That is a sticker. I put it on any cup, and this cup becomes a grammar cup. So let it be can we have a full screen video so that I can show all this stuff? Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so this is a grammar cup. At the first lesson, or one of the first lessons, I come to my students with Fanta and this cup, and what I do at the lesson is I start. You hear this sound, like this pshik sound. It's the first that surprises students because they start looking at me, and when they start looking at me, I start teaching. So it's not like when a teacher tries to attract attention by doing things like loud noises, but they first look, they first like get interested what's going on there, and then I show. I usually work with false beginners, so students that have a kind of pessimistic story of their learning. Okay, yeah, and when I come to them, they are usually not motivated and discouraged. And I try to remind them what things they know about English, but do it in an engaging way. So when I pour some Fanta here, we have an imperative sentence: help, read, eat, play. So it is imperative. It is an imperative mood. Then we have affirmative sentences. We help, we read, you eat, you play, they play. So this is affirmative sentence in present simple. We do it every day. We read, we help, you eat, and so on and so forth. Then one more level is a general question. A general question: do you read? Did we help? Will you help? Will you read? So it is a general question. And finally, some more Fanta, and we get a special question. Why will you eat? How will you eat? How can they play? Or when did we help? Or where did we help? So we have lots of combinations. And which is even more important is that when I show it with the help of this cup, my students understand that they cannot just translate a sentence from Russian into English like using the same pattern. They cannot say why I read, because do is very important. Just imagine we have no do. It means that we have Fanta, then we have no Fanta, and then we have Fanta again. When our students say где ты читаешь, and in English where you read, when they skip it, it means that it's against physics. Like you have Fanta, then you skip Fanta, and then you have Fanta again. So this cup is a visual actually manifestation of how English grammar works when we speak of auxiliary verbs, when we speak of present simple like patterns, past simple, future simple, and modals. So it works in two ways. First, it attracts attention, and then it gives this image of how like these kind of sentences are constructed. One more thing that I tried, in my teaching, I wanted something more interactive than a cup, because cup is good for visual, but I needed something more interactive for students to interact with their grammar, to touch it literally. And for that, I came up with the idea of grammar gloves. A grammar glove, again, it's a product that can be bought, but at the same time, it's such an idea that you can actually produce yourselves, because it is like knitted. It's made of, it's like real gloves. So most of the ideas that I have, all of my ideas are products already, but at the same time, I produce them as ideas first of all. So this finger, its function is to show. Unfortunately, I cannot see the chat in this mode, but I'll just comment. Like this one is to show. So we put this glove on it, as part of glove. Help. So it's imperative, help. And we do it like this, help. This finger is the biggest, the longest, and it's in the middle. So let it be a subject. For example, it will be a sentence like, you help. Like two words, and you help, we have this affirmative sentence. The small finger, the little finger, it's like little children. Little children usually ask questions. That's how they learn. That's why we put why or how, any question here. And we have a sentence, why you help. And we still have this finger. And I have a challenge, explain it in English. Oh, my goodness. But I hope, yeah. Well, all my indicators show that the sound goes away from me, but I hope it gets, yeah. Yeah, I can just be closer to the camera. Maybe it will work. Okay, yeah. Thank you. So, oh, great, we have very active chat. So I'll definitely answer your questions. Now I can see myself and I can see the chat at the same time. I think it's quite okay for this moment. One more thing that I need to introduce for my students is this finger. And in English, it's a problem because this finger in English is a ring finger. But in Russian, it's called безымянный. And it is very important for our students because if it is безымянный, it means we can put something that is not translated. So it is, for example, do. Why do you help? So now we have the whole selection of words and our students can use it like this or like this. So you can actually turn the fingers to get more and more meanings and more combinations. And that's how it works. When I explain it in English, it's more difficult because I cannot say безымянный, and actually people in the English language, actually those who know, well, not native speakers who speak only English, they don't really get this concept of do being difficult for students or did being difficult for students because it's so natural for English and not natural for Russian. Thank you so much. One more thing I'd like to show is this thing. It's also valuable, though it is not that easy to make it yourself, so it is definitely like mass production thing. You can order all the things if you contact me. I'll show you the contacts at the end. Some of the things are available in the shops, but most of them are still not. So it's better to contact me. My email is simple, GameSpa, game like game. Spa is Stepichev Petr Anatolyevich, but we have association like spa is something like relaxing, yeah, spa. At Yandex.ru, like yeah, Peter game spa at ya.ru. So this is like a puzzle, like game from our childhood, and you can create a sentence here. I have a few more ideas. One of the games I introduced for my students is a card game, and that's what I do, and that's what you can do. Like if you just take these things from the internet, but I have a ready set. The game is called Science. Знаки вывески. Science. What is the idea here? I give this block to the students, and I try moving from one place to another using its like small man or some like this one. Like I move from one point to another, and my students have this task to stop me. So they may put, let me see, stuff only, and then I need to show some something well, and then I need to stop and show like some ID, or they can put this one, or they can say dead end, and then I go back and then I go on again. So it is like traveling from one direction to another, but at the same time the students have the whole deck of cards to stop me from this from this like Yeah, this one. So I go and students try to stop me. That's quite interesting. Students like it a lot. One more thing I do with the cards, and it can be done with any cards. Thank you. Thank you so much. One of the things I use my deck of cards with words. Here I have 6 topics, 9 words in each topic. So again, it's a ready-made product, but if you follow this pattern, 9 words, 6 topics, this kind of game. What is the idea here? Students at the beginning of the game do not take any cards. When they start playing, student puts, for example, uncle here. The next students should draw a card from the deck. Let it be, the next one is Sunday. Topics are different, so it's good. We go on playing. The third student takes a card from the deck, random, from the middle probably. Yeah. And we have a cat. So Sunday and cat, different topics. It's okay. The fourth student, Saturday and cat. It's okay. The fifth student, weekend and Saturday. So it is the same topic. Weekend and Saturday, it's about a week. So a student who puts this card on top needs to take the rest of the cards for himself. And when his turn comes next time, he will have to use these cards. So it's like drilling, but in an engaging way. And definitely, yeah, we can create a story on the way or after it. It's a bit different task, but still, I'm always for when we turn like vocabulary exercise into speaking, grammar into speaking. It's a great transformation that can happen. And sometimes stories happen occasionally when we have like green uncle, for example. And students start fantasizing first in Russian, and then I ask them to fantasize in English, like, why is this husband or this uncle green? One more thing we can do with the cards is called fortune telling. Fortune telling. I have a word here. I'll take a word from the deck, this one. The fortune telling technology is the following. You need to tell me, what do you want to do with this object? For example, I will eat, and then I will show you what object I have. Let it be like this one. This is a noun. So your task is to write verbs like I will, or just a verb. I don't know, play, eat. So type a verb, and then we will see who is closer. I see. Yeah, Olga, you understand my idea about eating cat. Yeah. Yeah, I see. Eat, go, kick. It's great that we have a chat because at the lesson I usually register it with my pen, and here the computer does this job for me. Buy, shuffle, okay, run, read, touch, to pet it, to kill it, I'll take it, to learn, to buy it, great, hug it. Just remember what you've written, because later on I'll show you the object and you will get surprised. Fry it, put, smell it, okay. Jump on it or with it. So it's usually like when the verbs are like this, you usually kind of ask for more details. Like, should you jump on it or with it? Cook it, oh, listen to it, kiss it. Oh, great. So let's see what it was. Admire it. I think it's just in time to show. So you see, when you do it in the classroom, students are really active, and all their verbs are different because I ask my students to come up with different verbs. It's more difficult to do it in the chat mode because you all type at the same time. But with students, as we do it like one by one, I usually ask them to come up with different verbs. And then I just show this word, and it is a singer. So just remember, you wanted to eat it, you wanted to cook it, you wanted to kiss it, you wanted to hug it, you wanted to jump on it, you wanted to admire it. So I think, well, in this case, most of you are quite close. But again, this task is not about saying that half of you like did the wrong thing with this singer. It's not about it. It's for fun, for vocabulary revision. So do not use it as something against your students. Oh yeah, great. By the way, yeah, sing with a singer. Yeah, so it's a fantasy thing. It's imagination thing. It's not about really guessing. So yeah, again, the cards, you can order them. Like again, this GameSpar email is valid. Some of the games are available in the shops, but this one, this elementary card's not available because it doesn't have this package like covering, and the shops do not want to take it. So yeah, just write to me and I'll send you the whole list of things. One more thing I'd like to show. It's called a grammar cube. You probably know it because it's one of the things that I try to introduce at my webinars because it is something that really works. It is the most interactive tool of what I have, and here how it looks. So it has 16 elements, and when I come to the lesson, I ask students how many sentences they can translate with the help of this grammar cube. And usually they say 4, from 4 to 16. From Russian into English, translate from Russian into English. But in reality, you can translate 360, well, 364. It's important because it's every, well, you can translate one sentence every day for a year. So that is the magic of numbers, because when we speak of rules, when we say, okay, today we will learn present simple, today we will learn past simple, today we will learn present perfect, students do not really understand how many doors this rule open for them. And when I tell them, okay, today you're able to translate by the end of the lesson 364 sentences, it's a very precise number, and they see how they move towards this goal. And then I show them that it's again an imperative, affirmative. Then we have do they play, did they play, will they play, and can they play? A general and then a special question. So how can we do it? We can translate from Russian into English. Let's do one of these tasks. I have it in my book. Tell me any number from 1 to 364. Let it be the first number wins. So tell me any number. Okay. Oh, number 5 is too easy. Probably 105. Okay, 105. So, okay. Oh, unfortunately, I cannot really show. I can show you all these pages that you can translate with the help of grammar cube. So the sentence is когда ты поешь? Когда ты поешь? So when will you eat? So it's very kinesthetic. You touch it. You touch grammar. It's the first time you can really touch grammar, not just write about it or say it. So when will you eat? One of the sentences. But it's just about translation. Okay, yeah. It's just about translation. Actually, you can rotate it anyhow. You get correct sentences. But communicative method is about questions and answers. So the task can be, can you create a question to the answer? For example, my answer is at home. My question is, where do you play? Or my answer is, because I like it. My question is, why will you read? Because I like it. Yeah. Oh, how can we buy? Yeah. Again, this grammar cube is my personal patent. So again, the best way is to write to my GameSpar at yeah.ru, and I'll send you the list. Oh, unfortunately, yeah, I made a mistake in it. Or you can find me in Facebook, like Stepichev, Facebook, and I'll send you the whole list. Probably you have a center in your city that is selling it, because in some cities I do have some such centers. It depends actually, it depends actually where you're from. So one more thing I'd like to show is the grammar cube that is very new one. It's a 3D, printed on a 3D printer. So you can use all kinds of panels here. And you can also teach grammar. For example, how did they play, or how did they start is for any word, yeah. Or you can teach reading. For example, this word, most of students read as sake. Really, I checked it. They read sake. Then you show this one, and most of students do not make a mistake. They say cake because they know cake. Most of students can read cake. And then you show this one again, and you have sake. So you show your students that this is a system that is not just random reading, it's system, cake and sake. So yeah, letters are there. Letters are also part of the new grammar cube, so I can, well, they go together. And again, I can definitely send it to you. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm in such a situation that I have 30 minutes to tell you lots of things, and I hope you may use some of them. And one more thing I'd like to introduce that doesn't need anything to buy. That is the idea of a grammar battle. So I need a presentation here to show the grammar battle concept. Oh, thank you so much. So the grammar battle is a game to, it's like морской бой in Russian. You give these sheets to your students. Actually, again, these sheets are available like in this presentation, and in additional for the participants. You give these sheets to your students, and then you mark your ship somewhere, and they need to find your ship. For example, let's take like this one. I'll comment on it because I wanted to show lots of things, and that's why they are small. For example, I marked a ship in the square. Ты, вы отрицательное. To find your ship, your students need to create sentences. For example, you do not speak. You don't like cabbage. Things like that. If they make a mistake, you do not count it. If they hit some other place, you just tell your sentence is correct, but actually there is no ship there. For example, they may do it like this. Why do you speak English? So it will be here. Or they like English. Or she likes singing. Or finally, they will finally like get your ship. One more very productive way. Oh, yeah, about the Russian letters. Yeah, I'll introduce the Russian letters and the numerals later on in grammar. That I'll definitely do in the nearest future. So this one is about dates. The 1st of January, the 8th of March. So first you put your ship somewhere, for example, 3 squares, and your students. So your students don't place ships; they just shoot. You place ships. And to win, they need to find your ships. Yeah, you can win in case they don't find your ships, for example, in 5 minutes, or if they don't find your ships, well, after a few, like each of them have 2 or 3 attempts. If they run out of their attempts, you win. This one is a new one, complex object. For example, you want to help. She expects us to study. she expects them to study. So you need to use 3 dimensions here, and that makes this naval battle unusual. Yeah. And one more, a new one. Actually, I even have not tried it yet. I will try it at the lesson just in a few moments. It is reading dates. For example, 1912, 19, or let it be 1806. It can be some history here, so-called meta-предметный approach, meta-subject approach. For example, 1949 this net. So you can take dates from history, or you can take, let me show you, 2017, and it will be here. The ship will be here. And if we speak of 3 dimensions, it means that your students need to use all 3 words from 3 like dimensions. For example, I can show you, I want you to dance. So I want you to dance. So to make a sentence, you need to use all the 3 words. So yeah, and probably the last idea for today, before we go into questions, the tasks should not only be like visual and highly well motivating, they should be communicative. And that's one of the communicative tasks. I show my students a picture and ask them what has happened. And they use their imagination, they create stories, and again, I don't tell them you didn't guess. I just use this as a trigger to get as much productive speech from them as possible. So that's practically all I wanted to say, really. Just a few more slides to show. I see. Okay. So yeah, this slide with my contacts, you can print screen it, and you can add me in also social networks, because when I speak somewhere, when I travel to different cities, I usually announce it, and I hope we can get in touch, and I can tell you more about surprise pedagogy and different games. Anyway, if you write to me, I'll send you a list of things, and you can also get this presentation and the materials from the organizers of the conference. And you can use these materials, for example, naval battle sheets, just print them and go to the lesson. So that's practically it. So if you have any questions, I'm at your disposal. I'm ready to answer.
There was one question, how much is the set? Yeah, could you tell the price?
So the set, like 2 grammar cubes, the this puzzle and the game inside, 1,600 rubles. This big one was for 2 students. But that's all inclusive. Yeah, you can get them separately. But again, it's better. Yeah, I can send you a few links to my pages so that you can speak of more detail, because the set is just one item that I have. I have lots of things to share. So just a moment. Like this. It's my Facebook. Yeah, thank you so much.
There is another question that I would like to ask you. Could you please explain what happens if students don't say a date correctly during naval battle?
Yeah. So I try to make sure that every time my students shoot, they make a correct sentence. If the sentence is correct, but I have no ship, I say your sentence is correct, but you fail. Or your sentence is correct, but I have no ship there. But if the sentence is incorrect, I tell my students, okay, this sentence is not correct. So I will not tell you if I have a ship there. So I correct my students, but I don't tell them if I have a ship there. And they need to shoot one more time, actually. So it's motivation for them to shoot one more time. And one more good thing that they all have to carefully listen to each other. Because if they don't listen to each other, it means that they can shoot the same square, and that's a problem. So if they shoot the same square, again, I do not hold them, but it means they're not effective because they have a limited time, and if they shoot the same, it's not effective. They might fall as a group. They might fail as. So they usually try to listen to each other carefully and mark which sentences are already there. See, I understand.
Okay, thank you. There are actually more question. Maybe I can just send you later, and you can write to your audience. Yeah, because we have time. Well, it was really amazing that you showed us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.